So loops, with the help of loops, what we understand, iteration of a particular logic, okay, for a specific condition or based on a specific condition, isn't it? Based on a specific condition, a particular logic will be iterated or will be executed number of times. So we are writing the logic only once, but it is getting executed multiple times. The same logic is going to get executed number of times based on a specific condition. So there are three different types of loops, or you can say options available with us, wherein you can implement loops. Okay, so let's understand how to write the syntax of loops, and then we'll understand where we can use those loops in our actual programming portion. Okay, so let's create loops, main method selection, and then finish. Okay, now the syntax for loop is we have to do initialization part, okay, then semicolon, decision, or you can say condition, okay, so decision making, and then comes your increment or decrement part. This is your basic what you say syntax for loop. I'll repeat: for in small, initialization part, semicolon, decision making. So based on this decision, your loop will be iterated or not. Okay, then comes your increment or decrement part. Now this increment and decrement part is also important, right? So we'll understand once we write the code. Okay. So with initialization, what do I mean to say? What do we say initialization? I have explained this part in case of data type, right? This is initialization. This is initialization. So what does initialization means? Assigning a value to a variable. Okay. So let me say, I'll say integer I equals 0. So what I have done, I have initialized a value to a variable. Okay. Now I'll be writing a decision. So I'll say I less than 5. So till the time the value of I is less than 5, I want the loop to iterate, keep on iterating till the value of I is less than 5. This is what I want. Okay, semicolon, then I plus plus. This we have already seen in case of operators, unary operators, I plus plus. What it does, first is it assigns a value. Basically, over here we are not assigning, okay, we are not assigning any value, but only this value of I will be incremented after this block or this parenthesis, you can say. Okay. Now I will just write a simple statement, that is sys out. I'll say value of I is colon. I'll explain this portion, okay? So don't worry about this part. Just understand the syntax first. For integer I equal to 0, that is initialization part. Then comes this portion will be executed only once, the very first time. Okay, when your for loop starts, this will be executed only once. Then what happens? This condition will be evaluated. What is this condition? Value of I is less than 5, yes or no, true or
True,
false,
true.
right? True, right now it's true. So if this condition is true, then and only then the for loop, or you can say whatever you have written inside brackets, okay, or parentheses, that will get executed. Okay, so this is the condition to be evaluated first. Okay, just fine. So right now this condition is true, so this portion will be getting executed. Okay, what if we don't write this portion, increment or decrement portion? Right now we have used increment. Okay, what if we don't write this portion? If I skip this out, this is perfectly fine. See, the Java is not giving me error anywhere. This is perfectly fine. The syntax is perfectly fine. But what will happen? No, it will run infinite. Okay, the reason is, see, initialization is done only once. So value of I is 0 in memory. Okay, value of I is less than 5, this is true. It will go inside, it will get executed, again it will go back. Actually it will go and first increment, but right now we have skipped that part, we have not written this portion, and then this portion is going to get evaluated again. So again this will be evaluated, and the value of I is 0. 0 is less than 5. Yes. So again this portion will be evaluated. So it will keep on checking the condition, and this condition will always be true because the value of I is 0. So this will keep on iterating, okay, until and unless this condition is false. So we have not made any provision over here to make the condition of make this condition is false, right? So for that reason only you have to write I plus plus over here. Okay, so for each iteration it will go back, it will increment the value, then it will do the decision making. If this condition is true, this is going to get executed. Again it will go back, increment, check the condition, true or false. If true, execute the statement. So this will keep on happening automatically. Java does this part. Okay, so we need not to worry about that portion. And that is how loops work. So now if I run this, so this statement is going to get printed. Okay, so first it will print 0 because ln, we have mentioned print ln. Ln means next line. So this line will be printed, and then the cursor will go to the next line. Okay, and then value of I will be 1, 2, 3, 4. Up till 4 it will print because 4 is less than 5. The moment value of I becomes 5 with this increment, it will go and check 5 is less than 5. No, so then this statement is not going to get executed. So value of I is 0, from there it will start, and value of I is 4. Up till that portion it will print the statements. Okay, so let's run this. So this way it's going to print this. Okay, let's make this as equals. Okay, equals 5. Now if I execute it, 0 to 5, right? So it all depends on you guys, how and what number of iterations you want. Okay, if we can reverse this also. So initialization part, let me say I value of I is 5. This is also initialization. I'll make over here I greater than 0, right? What should be mentioned over here? Minus minus, right? So minus minus, and let's run this. So value of I is 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So 5 times it is getting executed. Okay. When the value of I becomes 0, this condition will becomes false. False. And then it won't be executed. Clear? So this is how your for loop is mentioned and executed. Now this is the actual syntax, okay? But many times we are mentioning integer values, okay? But it's not the only case. Okay, from college times, uh, we have been taught this only for integer and then value. But you can say any data type or use any data type values over here. Okay, say for example, I'll say for char c equals single quotes a. This is how we initialize character, right? Then semicolon. I'll say c less than semicolon g. Okay, semicolon c plus plus. This is also perfectly fine. Okay. So I'll say value of c is colon and then plus c. So plus c. Okay. This portion will be executed as it is. Okay, and then this is going to print the value of c. I have told you about ASCII values also, right? So over here, ASCII value of a is going to be compared, okay, with this in background. Okay, over here the value will be printed as A B C D E F G, but background the machine will be checking that ASCII values only. Okay, if I run, see, A, B, C, D, E, F, up till F, it will be. So this is also possible, and any other data type is also possible. Okay, so need not to think that okay, only integer option is available and possible. Clear up till this part? Now there are some variations. Okay, I'll just make you guys aware about that. So this is the syntax I have told you. Okay, now what we can do is we can remove this part. Okay, and we can keep it over here as well. Okay, at this portion, this is also possible. I can remove this portion and keep it over here. To mention this part is important. Okay, it should be we should ensure that we should initialize value of I. Okay, that should be there, but it's okay if you don't write it over here, and if you mention it somewhere before this for syntax, that is also perfectly fine. And increment or decrement part, that should also come somewhere over here. It can be mentioned over here, or it can be mentioned in the parenthesis block also. This is also perfectly fine. So if I run this, it's going to execute the same way 5 4 3 2 1. Okay, this is one variation. Okay, there is one more thing, there is one more syntax. See why I'm explaining you this part, guys, because many people ask this kind of questions in interview. Okay, they are not going to ask you the syntax of for loop and make you write a simple for loop. Okay, the way I'm explaining you, no one is going to ask you that simple question. Okay. So for space semicolon space semicolon space. So okay, is this a correct way of mentioning things? Is this a correct way of mentioning for loop? No, yes, 50-50. See, Java is not giving me any error over here, right? I'm not getting any red sign anywhere. Okay? This is a perfectly fine statement. Okay? But this is nothing but a infinite loop. Okay, this is a infinite loop. The
Infinite
reason
loop.
is
Okay.
so because we are not mentioning or initializing variable, we are not making a decision statement, or and we are not incrementing. So Java will understand it as a infinite loop or infinite part. If I mention anything over here, okay, it's going to give me an error over here. This is out and get an error. Code not reachable. Something like that. Okay. See, this statement is perfectly fine, but I'm getting an error. What it says, unreachable code. Java won't be able to reach up to this point. Why? Because it will keep on iterating in this loop only. It will keep on printing this for infinite number of times. It won't, Java won't let you come out of this loop itself. Okay, so this has to be avoided. Definitely, we are not going to use it practically, but yes, from interview point of view, this can be asked as a question. So if your interviewer asks, okay, or mentions, okay, this way he has written it on paper, and he will ask you, okay, whether this is perfectly fine or not, and what will be the output. So then you can say it will be an infinite loop. Whatever you have mentioned over here, that will be printed for n number of times. Okay, infinite times. Clear up till this part, everyone? Sure. So this is for loop. Okay, I'll create another class and I will make it as loops 2. That was loops only, loops 1. Okay, so create another class and we will discuss while and do while over here. Okay. So while, the syntax for while is while and then condition. Okay, while condition and then curly braces. Over here your code will come, or you can say logic will come. Code or logic is going to come. So while and then condition. So whatever be the condition or expression you are writing over here, if that condition evaluates to true, then this code is going to get executed. Okay. Again, once this code or logic executes, again it will come back. It will check for the condition. Again, if this condition is true, it will run the code. Again, it will check the condition. If condition is true, it will run the code. So in case of if else, the condition is validated only once. But in case of while loop, the condition is validated number of times. And the moment the condition becomes false, it will come out of the loop. Okay. So this is the only syntax, but for making you guys explain, I am doing the initialization part and increment part also. I am writing that portion also. Okay, so I will say integer I. So you will somewhere you will find it while condition and then code or logic. But somewhere I have to make a condition true or false. For that I want to initialize a variable. Okay, and then let's say while I less than 5. Okay, and then I will say sys out value of I is colon plus I, and then over here I have to increment the value of I. Okay, now if I execute it, it's going to print the same pattern the way it printed for the for loop, but the way of writing is this way. Okay, while and then condition. If this condition is true, it will come over here, it will execute this statement, increment it, increment the value of I, again go back, check the condition. Okay, run this statement or logic, increment, again check for the condition. Okay, so the moment it will come over here at this level, at level 4, and then it will increase the value of I to 5. So from 4 it will become 5. It will check the condition. So 5 is less than 5, no, false. So it won't come, it would go in, it won't go inside the loop, and it will come out over here. Okay, if you want to debug this part, okay, how to debug or what do you understand by debug? So debugging is done when you want to check each and every statement, how it runs or how it gets executed. If you want to check that part, you go for debugging. So debugging is done when we want to evaluate our code and check whether it is running perfectly fine and where the actual error is coming. Okay, so how to do debugging? See, I want to stop my execution, Java execution at this line. Okay, say for example, I want to stop the normal flow of Java execution at this point. So over here, I will do a double click. Okay, I will do a double click. So this kind of breakpoint will come, line breakpoint. Okay, if you do again double click, it will go away. So that fine. Now instead of executing a normal logic, okay, normal program, we will be selecting this option, that is debug loops. Okay, so I will select that, and it's going to ask you whether this run, okay, this kind of launch is configured to open the debug perspective. Okay, this is going to open the debug perspective. I have explained this perspective in the very first class. Perspective means representation of windows. Okay, the way the windows and dialog box are open in this particular Eclipse, that is nothing but called as perspective. So right now we are in the Java perspective. Okay, over here you can see the selection. Now it is asking, I want to open a debug perspective. Clear? So I click on yes, and you can see the layout will change, layout of the windows will change. See, over here some kind of loops dot main variables, whatever variables you have defined, they will come over here, your code, some outline, and then console. So this kind of layout will be displayed over here, and you can see your code has been stopped over here because we have mentioned the breakpoint over here, isn't it? So normal flow, this got executed. Java stops over here, stops the execution at this point where you have kept the breakpoint. You can keep multiple breakpoints in your program according to your need. Now we want to execute this portion. So there are two options, either step into or step over. I will be selecting step over because step into is selected when we want to get inside a method. So when we will discuss about methods, then I'll explain you about the step into. So the shortcut key for step over is F6, function key 6. Okay, so I'll just click on it. So this portion got executed. It evaluated to true. Okay, it went down. Okay, now this line 13th number line will get executed. Okay, so that got executed and it printed the thing on the console. Okay, again I will click over here. So value of I is changed, so you can see value of I changed to 1. So variables, any variables you have defined, there you can see the values over here. Okay, again you go back. Okay, so the number of times you will click on this tab over, each line will be executed once. Okay, that way. And whatever be the statement, that will you will see the differences over here. Value, variable value increment, that will be visible over here. Anything you are printing on the console will be visible over here. So keep on clicking and you will see the changes happening. That's it. Okay, so it got finished. What you can do now, you can switch back to Java perspective. That's it. And you can open the console from here. This kind of monitor kind of screen, that is console, and this console is open. Right. So this is how you can do a debug. You can, if you want to remove, you can just remove this. So that is debug portion, and this is the basic while loop log, or what is the syntax. Okay. Right now it looks very much similar to the way we have mentioned and I have mentioned and explained for loop, but I would say that initialization part, increment part is not mandatory for implementing while. It only needs a condition. Okay, but for now, for this particular example, yes, I need to make this initialization. Otherwise, I won't be able to do a condition statement, write a conditional statement over here. Okay, that is why I only have written. Okay. So you can say while and for loop can be replaced, can be like used according to your need. You can use while loop also instead of for loop. Okay, so that is possible, but for not all the possibilities of while loop, you can use for loop. Okay, now we'll go and understand do while. So the syntax for do while is, it says do, then curly braces, and then comes your while condition. Okay, and then semicolon, this way. Okay, and you can see, you can write the code over here. So code is going to come over here. Okay, this way. So what is the difference you can see over here? What is the difference you can see over here? Between the while and do while? What is the difference? Right. Very good. So condition is written first, okay, in case of while, okay, and in case of do while, or you can say condition is written or evaluated last, okay, at the last. Your code or logic is executed at least once, okay. For the first time, the code or logic will get executed because we have not written any condition over here. So whatever you have written in this block, that will get executed, and that is why it says do this, okay, perform this logic or run this code, and then go for the evaluation of condition. So condition will be evaluated, and then if the condition is true, again it will go and run the logic. If this condition is false, it will come out of the block. Okay. So what I will do, I'll say do curly braces. I'll write this same statement. Okay, over here. I'm writing the same statement over here, and I will write this portion also. I'll copy this and paste this while block and semicolon. So this is the syntax of do while. Okay. Now when we executed this portion, okay, what we received as an output 0 to 4, but actually the value of I became 5 in the last iteration. The value of I actually became 5, and then this condition was evaluated, like 5 is less than 5. No. So that is the reason it came out over here. The program flow came over here, and then the program sees this do portion at line number 21. So it says do. So do this part. Okay. So execute this part. So now this statement is going to get printed. This line is going to get printed on the console. What this line will be printing? 5, right? 5, because already the value of I became 5 over here. Now value of I is incremented, so it will become 6. While will be coming into picture. So while 6 is less than 5, false. So then when this condition becomes false, it won't go and execute this logic. It will come out of the loop, right? So I'll say one statement over here, sys out while loop ends. Okay, this code, and I will execute this part, and we'll see value of I is 5. So this line is actually printed because of do while. So the only difference between do while and while is the condition is evaluated at the last in case of do while, and in case of while it is evaluated in the beginning. Okay, that is the only difference.